Hello, welcome to another video from Excel Highway. My name is Elad. I'm your host for this adventure of fully utilizing Excel and all of its abilities and glory. So if you're new to this channel, I'm uploading weekly content about Excel, tricks and tips, about how to use Excel, to really automate most of your boring and repetitive work. And also nice things that you can do whenever you build files that you share with others. And today's video is especially talking about that. So this video is going to talk about how to build a dynamic and dependent drop-down list, meaning you can easily change the values and you can also create dependencies between your selections. So the way I did this is there's basically two sheets here. There's the list sheets, where you maintain your data. And you have to make sure that the data has connections, meaning if you select type called vegetable or fruit and you want that selection to impact another drop-down, you got to make sure that the header has the same name. So vegetable equals vegetable, fruit equals fruit, cabbage to cabbage, etc., etc. If you don't have that, then the next drop-down list will not give you any selections, which is sometimes it's okay. So for example, I don't have a column here called red cabbage, so if I end up selecting red cabbage, that would be the end of the line, so to speak. So this is how you set up your lists. Okay, I usually like the first row to be the headers and then take it from there, each column on its own. That way, if you have 50 here and you have 30 here and you have 2 here, there's no chance of them harming each other. So that's the first part, the easy part. Next part is the drop-down area itself. So this is the drop-down selections. Okay, you can see, and these are two supporting formulas that I use to build this. Now you can add these formulas within the drop-down formula that I'll show you. But actually, I prefer to put it outside. That way it's much more user-friendly and you can understand what's happening. So first off, I'm looking for the location of my list, or so to speak, how many columns to the right I need to go. Okay, I'm always looking one selection before, and I start things with something called type. This is the first column. So I'm looking for type within the first row. And I'm going to be using offset function, so I'm going to be offsetting starting from here. Okay, so this is why I have a -1. So I'm using match. I'm looking for this value within the first row, and I'm subtracting 1. In this case, for type, I want to stay in column A. Okay, for vegetable, I want to move 1. So in this next one, you see it's 1. So these are number of columns to the right. This is the number of rows, meaning how many lines will I give the user ability to select? 2, 3, etc. Now, in order to do so dynamically, I'm using offset here. Basically, I'm using count A, and I'm actually offsetting the list. So I'm building the list dynamically, so every time it shows me this column, and I'm counting the number of rows. If you're not familiar with offset, it's a very nice function. I can show you the results. So, sorry, in this case. So let's show you how it looks, just the formula itself. Okay, so it just copies the entire column. You have 4 parameters here. How many rows you want to start. This is the reference where you're starting. This is the number of rows going down, number of columns going to the right, the number of rows in the table, so it could be a 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional table, and the number of columns. So if I change that to 2, all of a sudden I get 2 more columns. And you can't change the data here. You see it gives you an error, but it's a very nice function, especially for these kind of cases. If you're not familiar with offset, you can leave a comment and I'm happy to post a video just on that. It's well worth to learn and know how to use it. I use it a lot. So these two helping cells are going to help me to build the data validation or drop-down list. So if you're not familiar, if you want to create a drop-down list, even if it's not dynamic, you go to Data, you go to Data Tools, Data Validation, Settings, List, okay, and the source. Now in the source, I'm using offset again, same formula. So you see I'm starting here at A1. I'm going to go one row below, so I skip the headers. And I'm going to go B2, which is the, let me show you. So again, let's take a look. So B2 is the number, how many columns to the right I'm going to go, and C2 is the number of rows for the selection. And I only want one dimension of the column, so the last one is 0. And what this does is basically gives me the ability to connect between the selections. So let me just delete and start fresh. So let me select vegetable. Let me select greens. Now I have different options. See, I have mustard green and no more, because mustard green does not have a column. I can always go back to peppers where I have more options. And chili, now I do have a fourth option. And I also used indent just so, to illustrate the hierarchy. It looks a little bit nicer the way you do that. Of course, if you select fruit, it's a whole different ball game, melon. And what's nice actually is that it's very dynamic. So, for example, if I want to add now just another hierarchy, 1 and 2, just for example. So you see, it already does it. Okay, so this was how you can do it very easily, very user friendly. Write me a comment if you want me to share with you the file, or you can try doing it by yourself using these tips, which is even better. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I'd like you to subscribe, leave a like, and I'll catch you in the next video.